Good morning everybody, welcome to the Martini Glass Scales Guide to Becoming a Performer. My name is Kitty for anyone who's not met me before, and we've got a lot of new members of the group. So while we're just waiting for everybody to jump on, I'll just give you a quick introduction to what the group is about, who I am, and then today we're discussing productivity. So basically, my name is Kitty. I'm a professional burlesque performer and circus artist. I set up this group back in November just for tips and tricks really on how I became a professional performer. So this group really is geared towards turning amateur newbie performers, people who are learning a skill and thinking they'd like to perform but don't know how, into professional paid performers. That is our aim at the end of the day. So all the tips that I'm giving you are things that I have used during my journey to become a professional performer. I'm not saying that's the only way you can do it, but obviously I can't tell you things that other people have done. I can only tell you from my experience and the things that I know and the things that have worked for me. So I became a professional performer in my 30s. I'd been a dance teacher for many years. I'd run a dance school, and I'd watched a burlesque show one night and I decided I wanted to become a performer. And basically that day I just decided I was doing it. So I went home, I set up a Facebook page, I gave myself a burlesque name, and Kitty Campari was born. And I just went from there. I used all my business experience from running a business, from running a dance school, and I converted that into being able to get jobs as a performer. And within a month, with no friends in the industry, no previous performing experience, I had my first paid job as a residency in a cabaret club as a burlesque and cabaret performer, and I loved it. That was the start of an amazing career. I met amazing friends, I made great connections, and it's really all stemmed from there. So I'd like to pass on my knowledge to you guys, because I'd love other people, instead of just umming and ahhing about it and thinking that maybe they could do it, or thinking, oh, I wish I could do what such and such a body has done, I wish I could be a performer, I wish I could get paid to do that. You can, it's easy. If I can do it, you can do it. It takes hard work, but if you put into practice some essential tips and use them, then honestly you're gonna do amazing. So today we're talking about productivity, and I love talking about productivity because I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with like making my life as easy as I possibly can, and basically doing as little work for maximum effort, for maximum outcome as possible. So when I was at uni, I trained to be a doctor when I was at uni, and I used to revise, and I'm dead good at revising because I know how I learn, and I've worked out how I learn really effectively. And I'd like spend an hour revising for an exam, and then I'd be like, right guys, we going out? And all my mates would be like, oh no, I can't, you've only done an hour's revision, I've got all this work to do, blah 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 blah, whilst they were sat watching Coronation Street writing out revision cards, not even looking at them. And I'd just be like, that is so unproductive, you're not learning anything. Whereas I would just like sit down for an hour, I'd do questions, and then I'd get it wrong, and then I'd go back and learn it, and then do it again, and then it'd go in my head, and then I'd be like, right, done, I'm going for a drink. And it just used to drive me crazy. I just used to watch them wasting their time and being so unproductive, and then getting stressed that they didn't know anything, and they just never used to listen, and it just used to drive me mad. So productivity for me is something that I am obsessed with. I love it. I just think, why would you ever waste your time doing something or spend more time than you need to doing something? Just learn how to do it quicker, learn how to do it as effectively and as efficiently as you possibly can, and then it's done. So for me, my tips on productivity. So first of all, one, set yourself goals. You need to know what the end goal is. So like me, when I was at uni and I was revising, I knew that I needed to learn X amount of stuff before I was allowed to go and drink wine or whatever. So set yourself a goal, and I like to do it now where I set myself like a weekly goal. At the end of this week, I will have done this. So at the minute, well, for you guys, let's say, if you're creating an act or whatever, you're not going to create a whole act in 1 week probably. So you might say, right, at the end of this month, I want to have created that act, but by the end of this week, I want to have completed the costume for that act. And then I would then break that down into daily tasks. So that day I'm going to do all the rhinestoning. That day I'm going to do or order more pieces. That day I'm going to create a headdress. And I would just break it down into a daily goal that has to be completed, and that is my top goal for the day. It needs to be done. So that would be my first step that I would do. Know what I need to get done, and then break it up into small goals. The smaller you break your goals up into, the less overwhelming things are. Then my daily goals, each night before I go to bed, I sit down and I think of things that I need to get done the next day. So I will plan my day in advance the next day. So last night when I was in bed, I sat there and I was like, right, at 6 a.m. I'm going to do this, at 10 a.m. I'm going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And my day is planned out, because if you don't plan your day just runs away with you. You waste it scrolling, you waste it doing all kinds of stuff. So you want to plan your day as effectively as you can. And I always like to put in my non-negotiables first. So my non-negotiables might be, I need to have sent such an email by the end of today. So I will do that first. That's the first thing that I will do. And then that's like a massive weight off your shoulders. You're not anxious about it all day, putting it off, procrastinating, thinking about it. If you do it first, it's done. Yeah? Another big tip for me is your non-negotiables should also include things that are important to you. So for me, my non-negotiables in a day are, 1, I have to go to the gym. That's for me because I want to do it. And even if I've not done my work, or I've not done the things, I've got loads of stuff on, that is still more important, and I have to do that before I do anything. Or I might do it at the end of the day, but it has to get done. It's not something that is negotiable and I can go, oh well, I'll just go tomorrow because I've got to get such and such work done. No, it has to happen, and everything else has to fit in around it. The same with making food. So a lot of us, like, we think it's being productive sitting and eating at our desks, or sitting and eating on the go, like, and not giving ourselves time. And that for me is non-negotiable now. Like, I used to do it a lot when I used to drive from job to job, but I don't do that anymore. I give myself time to cook, or I give myself like time to have to myself where I'm just eating my food and I'm not doing work at the same time as it, because I think that's really important as well. And these are my non-negotiables. They're not necessarily going to be yours, but what I'm saying is your non-negotiables don't have to be work related. They can also be you related. So your non-negotiables might be, well, I have to spend like so much time with my kids, or I have to go on a walk in the evening, or I have to, it can be anything, like whatever it is, I have to go and have a coffee with my friend, or those things have to happen. You can't, because what we tend to do is we tend to focus on our work, and we tend to think work is more important than everything else, and we like push out the things that are important to us as people. But if you're not healthy, and if you're not happy, and if you're not spending time with your family and your friends, then what really is the point in life? Like, it doesn't matter how well you're doing at work, how successful you are as a performer, if you haven't got those, like, those ground, what are they called? Foundations. Those foundations set. If you've not got those foundations set, where you're looking after yourself and you're looking after the people around you and you're looking after your own well-being, then it's pointless. So I would say, like, think of your daily non-negotiables for you, and make sure that they're in there and they're blocked out, and then work the things that you need to do around. So they would be my first few things. Next thing is writing a to-do list. So write a to-do list of the things that needs to be done. Write a to-don't list of things that doesn't need to be done. So you might think, right, well, I need to, by the end of the week, I've done this, and you might have like 10 things that need to be done through the week to get you there, but that is too many things to do in a day. So you might list them in order of importance. So if you're making a costume, one, you have to have the base costume there. So that would be buy the base costume or make the base costume. There's no point putting rhinestone in at the top of your list if you've got no costume there, yeah? Then order them in order of importance. The first 3 are your to-do list for that day. Your second 3 are your to-don't list. They don't need doing. You can do them tomorrow, yeah? So separate them. Don't try and do everything in one day. Also have a delegate list. So look at your list and think, is there any way that I can get someone else to do that? So when we run like big businesses, you can delegate to other people, but if you're a performer on your own, then you can't necessarily delegate, but you might be able to get somebody else to do your rhinestone and pay for it. You might be thinking, God, I've got no idea how to do a show reel or whatever, and you might then think, well, I could just pay someone else to do it. I don't know how to make a website, and that will take me ages and ages and ages to learn how to do that, and I've not got time. Don't then like pay someone else to do it. And I know at the beginning it's hard because you've got to find the money, but you can shop around for people to do it for cheap. You can go on things like Fiverr, where it's freelance artists that do things for you, like graphic design, website design, things like that. So these are just ideas on how to not have to do everything yourself, because doing everything yourself can be a little bit overwhelming, and that's when people start thinking, oh, I just can't be bothered with this, it's too much work, it's too hard. And actually it's not. You just gotta think, right, well, I need to do that, but somebody else could do that or whatever. And you can delegate in your own life as well. So your personal life, you can be like, right, I'm like really busy today, so my partner, can they look after the kids, or can they take them to dancing or football after school or whatever, or can somebody else walk the dog, or can somebody else cook the tea? All things like that are also delegating, asking somebody else to do it for you, so you can just have a bit of a break to focus your mind. So that's my second tip. I love delegating, it's the best. Next thing, turning off your distractions. I am bad for this, so I have to now just turn my phone off, or turn all the notifications off. But I'm particularly bad because I use my phone a lot. Like a lot of people use laptops and stuff like that to do like all their Instagram or all their content or whatever they're doing, but I always use my phone. And when you've got your phone in your hand, you just get notification after notification, and then you just get distracted. So now I just turn off all the notifications. Nothing's going to pop up while I'm focusing on that task in hand, and that could be like for an hour, it could be like for a morning, it could be whatever. I particularly do it now at weekends, so I know a lot of people message me about various things this weekend, but I have started just turning my phone off at weekends, because otherwise you just never get a break, especially when you run a business. And performing is running a business as well, and people think you should be there for them at every second of the day, because we live in a culture now where that is possible. But if you think about it, years ago when you clocked off at 5 o'clock, that was it. You just went home and you spent time with your family, and your weekends were your own. And I've started trying to create that now for myself, but that's another talk within itself. I think we're going to do one on self-care and things like that, and that's going to be part of it. But I would definitely say, like, distraction wise, if you're doing things on social media, posting on social media for your content posts and things like that, I would definitely say turn off your notifications so that you're not getting things popping up while you're doing it to be distracted. My big thing is just getting the big thing done. You know, the thing that's hanging over your head that you're dreading for the day. Like, so for example, at the minute I'm creating a webinar for my course, and I'm dreading it for some reason. I don't know why. I've just built it up into a thing. Like, I do these lives all the time, and it's literally just going to be the same as that. But I don't know. I've created it into a thing in my head, and I keep putting it off. So tomorrow on my to-do list, my webinar is first thing. I'm not allowed to do anything until I've done that webinar, because it's just, I'm thinking about it all the time. I'm like anxious about the fact that I've not done it, but I'm also anxious about the fact that I've got to do it, and I'm just making it into a thing and I don't need to. So yours could be anything. It could be things like, oh, I need to email that person and say I don't want to do that job. Like a lot of the time when we feel anxious about stuff, it's when we're saying no to things. But I would just say, like, get your biggest worry out the way in the morning, and then the day is just yours and you can just crack on with the rest of the day. Another big productivity thing for me as well is saying no to stuff. So like I just mentioned, it is really difficult to say no to things, but you really have to think of it like this. So the biggest thing that I say no to is when people ask me to do gigs for free. And that's often like charity gigs and stuff like that. And it's not because I'm a bitch, and it's not because I don't believe in charity, and it's not because I'm all about money. But it is, for me, if I say yes to an unpaid gig, I'm basically saying no to a paid gig, because there's not room then on that day for me to do a paid job, and it is my job at the end of the day. So you've really got to think about, that's just an example, but you've really got to think about when you're saying yes to things that you don't really want to do, one, is it really benefiting you? If it's not going to give you that much of a benefit, then you need to remember that saying yes to that is saying no to something else, and you're closing space for something else to come in that might be important. And I've done that loads of times. I've done it particularly on like things like New Year's and stuff like that, where I've said yeah to doing like stilts gigs, which I notoriously go on about in this group all the time because I just hate doing them. I've said yeah, I'll do that stilts gig, and then somebody's offered me a martini glass gig, which is like 4 times the amount of money. I actually enjoy doing it, and I've got to say no to that because I've not left space for the things that I want to do, because I've just said yeah to everything, and I've learned that lesson and I don't do that anymore. So they're my tips on productivity. It is very hard to implement them all at once, so try and think about like just implementing the first ones. Set yourself a goal for the week, break it into small tasks, and get your worst or most important task done and dusted first thing. It's also really important to know when you're most productive. So there's a lot of talk about people getting up super early at 5 a.m, like the 5 a.m club and stuff like that. And I do that because I'm a bit sad like that. I love getting up dead early, and my husband goes to work at 5 a.m, so I'm up anyway. But if you're most productive at like 11 o'clock at night, then plan your tasks for 11 o'clock at the night. Don't plan them for 6 o'clock in the morning, because you know you're not going to get up at that time. So work out when's the most productive time for you. Is it during the week? Is it at the weekend when you've got more time to yourself? Is it at night? Is it in the morning? Is it in the day? Is it in your lunch break? Like, when is it? Knowing when you're most productive and knowing how you're most productive is literally the key to being successful. If you know when you do things the best and when you're at your optimal time to get shit done, then you're on to a winner, aren't you? Just like the example I gave at the beginning, my uni mates used to sit for like 4 hours watching TV, writing out revision notes, and then saying that they'd still not learn anything, and then I'd like do an hour in my bedroom, like proper focus, and then I'd be good to go out and stuff. And because I knew how to be productive and they didn't. So it's really important you just learn how you do it, because not everyone will be the same. Like, some people love listening to music or watching TV while they're doing stuff, and they're more productive when they do that, but that would not be for me. I wouldn't be able to do that. So just when you're doing things, try and look at when you're getting distracted and when you're not concentrating, and then write it down and think, yeah, I wasn't concentrating then. Or what helps you to concentrate better. So maybe when you've had like a really nice meal, that might help you to concentrate better, rather than when you've like sat eating a sandwich at your desk, or sat eating a sandwich like driving from job to job. Just start noticing what makes you a more productive person, and then implementing those things, being strict and saying, this is more important, I've got to do that. So they are my big tips for the day. I hope that was helpful to people. If you've got any questions, drop me a message. I can't see anybody's comments today, so don't know if anybody has commented, and I'm scared to touch it because you know what I'm like with technology. When I touch things, stuff happens. Oh yeah, stuff has happened there. But I will reply to any comments that anybody's left when I get off here and I've worked out what I'm doing. So have a lovely week. I am going to start going live a little bit more. Last month was very quiet because I'm basically launching 2 businesses at the same time, which was just a ridiculous idea. But now I'm coming to the end of that and everything's starting to come together. I've got more time to do more live. So what we'll do is we'll do a Monday live, which is going to be things like this, important business things. And then I'll do a Friday live, which will be an accountability reflection live. So if we've talked about productivity today, couldn't speak then. If we've talked about productivity today and how to be productive, then our live on Friday will be about how productive your week was. What did you notice? Did you implement anything? Did you change anything? Did you notice anything about yourself that makes you more productive? Like, I'm like super productive in the morning, 5 till like 9. So I do all my work and all my content and everything at those times because I'm dead productive there and invoicing people and stuff. And people must think, God, that girl's like got no life. She's like invoicing me at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I'm just dead productive then. But if I had to do it after 5 o'clock, I'm not doing it. The same with the gym. If I've got to go after 5 o'clock, no, I'm not doing it. So I know when I'm most productive and when I'm not. So just try and think about those things, write them all down, keep a journal and write these things down so that you remember them, because the more you repeat, the more you'll remember. Whereas if we just have one live a week and I say it once, you're probably not going to remember it in like 4 weeks time. But if you repeat the process, or you've wrote it down somewhere, or you rewatch the live again, it goes back in, doesn't it? And the more times you repeat something, the more solid it is in your memory. So anyway, I'll stop talking now because I've probably gone on for ages there. But as you can see, I love productivity. It's super important to me. I just love not wasting my time. I like my free time to do what I want to do. And if you're productive, then you're not wasting your life working. You're wasting your life. You're enjoying your life doing things that you enjoy. So have a lovely week. I'll see you all on Friday for some reflection. Also check out the post below because we've got a content creation challenge next Monday, and that is in a pop-up group which is outside of this group, so that I'm not filling this group with just crap all the time. So if you are interested in boosting your social media, learning how to create good content boosting ideas, there's a link below, but I'll mention it again. I'll put it in here again later on today. And just click that link, it'll take you to the pop-up group. No, I've not let anybody in it yet, but I will let you in the next few days so that I can organise the group properly and make sure that I've got everybody's email addresses so that you can receive like free resources and stuff to help you through the week. But it'll be just like this, a live with a task every day for 5 days. Once the week is over, then the group will be deleted. So it is just a little pop-up challenge to help you boost your social media engagement and create better content. So have a lovely week. Hope that was interesting, and I will see you all on Friday for some Friday reflection. Bye bye.